hospital and you're stuck in a government bureaucracy. You try to call the medical board, as Kathy Olsen, who's sitting next to me, does. She had a $7 million verdict for her son against the doctor.
And with a $7 million verdict, the lawyers had a sliding scale contingency fee to collect 30% of that. That's hardly a hard case.
$7 million.
Excuse me, not in the state of California.
No, she ended up with something like $250,000, as I understand it. But you know what? Let's get right to it. Let's switch the camera over. Let's stay in Los Angeles right now, and we'll talk to Kathy Olsen. Here's the sad story here. Her son was blinded and brain damaged by medical malpractice. Kathy, we'd like to hear the details of that story, and would you share it with us?
Yes. In February of '92, we were up in the mountains, and my son fell down. We were on a nature hike.
Yes.
And he fell, and a stick went in his face, and it came out his cheek. Well, we rushed back down from the lagunas. It was about an hour's drive. We went to where we were supposed to with our HMO coverage to an urgent care facility. They looked at it. They x-rayed his face. They said they can't repair it there. So we were sent on to a hospital emergency room. The emergency room doctor there said, no, we're not going to repair it. Let's call the ear, nose, and throat specialist. He came in. He looked at it. He sent us over to the Children's Hospital next door. So we actually went into a surgical procedure.
Right.
And he was put out, anesthesia, everything, to repair this stick injury. We were let out. This started like at about noon. We were let out of the hospital the next, well, it'd be early morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we were given oral antibiotics.
Yes.
And they sutured him inside his mouth and outside on his cheek.
And at that point, I mean, were you told anything?
It was fine. It was fine. It seemed like it was really good until about 7 days afterwards. He started feeling really sick. He was lethargic, running this low-grade fever.
Right.
And we took him
you said seven days after, right?
Yes, 7 days after.
Was he examined in between that time period?
Yes. Matter of fact, he went to his pediatrician the occurrence was on a Saturday. We were let out of the hospital Sunday morning.
Yes.
We went to his pediatrician Monday. We went to the ear, nose, and throat specialist on Tuesday to have the stitch removed. And then we called again, like we would, Saturday to an urgent care facility. We were seen by a doctor, a pediatrician.
Right.
And she said, well, he must have the flu. You know, he's running this low-grade fever. You know, they did a few tests. They did a chest X-ray. No, there's nothing wrong with him. He has flu.
Okay.
And so they gave us some Advil. And they knew he was on the, oral antibiotics from this, facial injury. And everybody kept saying, oh, face healed up fine. And we went home that night on Saturday, and he seemed better with the Advil. But then by Sunday again, he was sick. So we took him back to the pediatrician at the urgent care facility. And it took a while that day, too, and kind of said, well, she checked into meningitis, but it wasn't something, he didn't have all the symptoms. So we were going to be sent for other tests, and they said, you're going to see your pediatrician Monday, which would be the next day, and it was already 7:30 in the evening by then.
Right.
So
Dr. Sachs, hold on to your story just for a minute.
Okay.
You sort of indicated that you might want to ask a question at this point. Did you have something that you want to ask, Doctor?
Yeah, I guess what I'm curious about is, when did you think he got really sick? I say that as a subject I'm very sympathetic about. 15 years ago, I admitted my nephew with meningitis, and just about 5 days ago, a niece of mine. Usually with meningitis, they get sick over a relatively short period of time, 8, 10, 12 hours. Did it occur that quickly or not?
No, because, frankly, it wasn't the meningitis that was the problem. He had a brain abscess.
Well, I'm sure that was related to the meningitis. Yeah.
Yes. It wasn't the meningitis that caused the brain abscess.
Okay. So, Kathy, now...
on Monday...
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
On Monday, we went to the pediatrician, and she says, oh, he has meningitis. We're going to put him in the hospital. We had... we were directed to the hospital. We went in there, and the chief resident admitted us. She did the history and physical, and the first thing that was brought up was a stick injury. My husband says, well, could the stick have been poisonous? It just seemed ironic that, a week after this injury that all these things started happening. Oh, no, the stick injury has nothing to do with this.
Okay. Listen,
asked
I'm just going to interrupt you right now. We want to hear the rest of the story. This is Kathy telling us in Los Angeles a story that happened to her son, and we want to hear the details of that. We're going to take a little break. We'll come right back. We'll deal more today with the medical malpractice and hospital mishaps right after these messages. Stay with us. Very interesting program.
Did you know you could be paying hundreds of dollars too much each